2 straight games now, the Bills haven't punted. They can't stop the Buffalo offense, and that's the big question tonight. Can the Patriots find a way to take some of the steam out of the Josh Allen attack, Chris?
Yeah, that'll be the million-dollar question. And I think the thing that's, interesting about it is just the kind of the egg the Patriots defense laid last week in Minnesota. Did a lot of good things. I thought the players made a lot of mistakes, Mike. It was one of those games where I said the Jimmies and the Joes let down the X's and the O's. But with Josh Allen, as you know, as I know, everybody knows, it's a tough task defending him. And I think when you talk about those last 2 matchups that you're referring to, the last one, the regular season matchup in New England, it wasn't all that bad defense by New England. That would be one of those where I would have chalked it up to go, oh my gosh, Josh Allen played so awesome, so phenomenal. They did a lot of good things to contain him and had people covered, and he just made next level throws and escapes. But then when you get into the playoff game, Mike, to what you're talking about, and I didn't hear much of what you said because you were kind of in and out there early, but that was totally just surgical explosion of offense on the Patriots defense. They had no answers for anything. It wasn't just Josh Allen making plays. Yeah, he made a few plays, but we saw guys screaming across the field wide open, and they were doing whatever they wanted to do. So that's where it's a little scary. And that was the start of the conversation for New England of, wow, we're a slow defense. We need to get faster on that side of the ball if we want to compete in the AFC. And this will be, a very important test tonight to kind of see where they're at. And I think for us, are they serious? Can they really be a player in the AFC? Can they win a game in the playoffs if they get in? I think this is where it's a good litmus test right now for the New England Patriots.
Well, and look, last Thursday night, it felt for most of the game like they were going to find a way to win. And, they can score points against a bad defense. I don't know if they can score points against the Bills' defense. And, hey, I know. We're 9-2. We're 9-2. The defense is still not good. But that's the other side of this. Even if they can take some of the steam out of Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, running game, it's gotten a little bit better in recent weeks with Devin Singletary. They've been using it more. Can the Patriots still do enough? We'll pivot to that. Before we go there, let's continue to talk about this Patriots defense because I want to hear from Adrian Phillips, his thoughts on last year's blowout loss to the Bills in the wild card round. Here he is from yesterday.
What you guys this week talk about remembering that playoff loss, kind of leaving a bad taste? Is that something that you remember?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we went out there and it was -1 and went out there and basically got our face kicked in. So you definitely think about that, but you don't harp on that. You look at what they did and how they were able to control the game and the plays that they were able to make, and you think about them not punting the ball for basically 2 games. It's a big deal, but at the same time, you can't let that consume you because it's a whole different team, a whole different mindset. It's our first time playing these guys. We know we got another one coming up soon. You just go out there with a clear head and say, hey, everybody do their job to the best of their abilities, and the outcome will be the outcome.
Remember, and the Patriots and the Bills have yet to play. 2 straight years of scheduling quirk that has them separated until we get to not the final month of the season anymore because they play into January 8th, but still close enough to it. And, you hear some of the Bill Belichick cliches coming through from Adrian Phillips, just the idea that, it's a different team. And it is a different team, but there's still a lot of similarities. It's not like you have a complete overhaul of your roster from one year to the next. A lot of the guys who had their face kicked in by the Bills last year are still there, and I think it's good that they remember it. If you can press buttons on guys to get them to execute better, to do better justice to the X's and O's, to not get overpowered and outrun by the Bills offense, then, maybe you tap into their pride a little bit and you can get a better performance.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. And then we're going to see if some of the adjustments they made, some of the new players they have on the defensive side of the ball, do they help out at all? We know Judon's having an unbelievable year. I know he's not new, but he's certainly going to be a big part of the game plan tonight in containing Josh Allen. That's been the big issue. And then Uche, the other guy off the edge. Maybe he can be the difference maker. One thing that we know about New England, Mike, and we've discussed this a lot, they're a team more predicated on size and physicality. They have a hard time sometimes when they have to play the teams that are space teams with a running quarterback. We know they've had issues with that throughout their throughout Bill Belichick's tenure a little bit, because they don't necessarily always have the fast speed rushers that can contain a guy like Josh Allen. And when you play wide open football, they have thumper linebackers, first and second down, we're going to stop the run type of guys. And they're not always best with, whoa, here comes Isaiah McKenzie across my face on a shallow cross. Whoa, here goes Stephon Diggs. Those are the things they've had issues with. It's just the spread it out mentality of the Buffalo Bills, the attacking through the air, and then, wait, we cover everybody downfield, but now we don't have the athletes to contain Josh Allen behind the line of scrimmage. Or we put too many eggs into stopping the pass game, and now they call a design run play by Josh Allen, and he runs down the middle of the field for 15 or 20 yards before he's untouched. So it is going to be interesting to see some of the adjustments. One, it's a New England defense we know is good that didn't play good last week, and maybe they catch a break in the fact that, Mike, Buffalo's not hitting on all cylinders on the offensive side of the ball right now. They've kind of lost their way to a degree as compared to what we saw early in the year. And maybe that, benefits them and helps them out tonight to make the game a little more low scoring.
You mentioned Uche. He had the only sack of Kirk Cousins last Thursday night, and it was one where the Vikings averted disaster, because I still don't know how Cousins held on to the ball when he got
that was impressive
on that sack. Ball could have come out, could have been a touchdown the other way. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.